The lavish praise from the other end of the line made Gu Linchuan's smile grow even more smug. Then, the topic shifted, and his friend asked him, Lin Shuiwei is a star student, and you two grew up together. You're telling me you're not the least bit interested? This was the same man who had confessed to me earlier that day, his face beat red. Now, he just scoffed and shot back, get real. She's too cheap. Would you fall in love with your nanny's daughter? The contempt in his voice made my eyes sting. That one casual remark was enough to shatter all my pride and self-respect. In the silence of the night, for the first time, I heard the sound of a teenage heart breaking. For years to come, those words would haunt me, echoing endlessly in my ears. A constant reminder that to him, I was the nanny. Nothing more. I couldn't bring myself to listen to the rest. Forgetting the water I'd come for, I fled back to my room and retreated into my shell. The crickets chirped outside, their sounds rising and falling. I curled up at the foot of my bed, clamping a hand over my mouth to cry in silence. When you live in someone else's house, even crying your heart out is a luxury you can't afford. I never imagined Gu Linchuan would confess to me. The golden boy and the ordinary girl, we should have moved in different worlds. But he would always step up to protect me, and he had looked at me with such sincerity and passion when he said, I like you. In that moment, to my shame, I was moved. After I'd calmed down, I told him we weren't right for each other. My mother had worked diligently as a nanny for the Gu family for 20 years. I didn't want to be the reason she couldn't hold her head high in their home anymore. So even if we were childhood sweethearts, even if the feelings were mutual, I couldn't take that step. At least, not yet. He must have sensed my dilemma, because he suggested we go to the same college. Just like old times, he'd said. Same school, same class. Wouldn't that be great? I'd said, okay. Gu Linchuan scored nearly 100 points lower than me on the college entrance exams. To go to the same university as him, I gave up the prestigious, top-tier school I had painstakingly chosen and opted for a regular one instead. I had been a rule follower my whole life. Changing my application behind my mother's back was the most rebellious thing I had ever done. Youth at 18 is fleeting and intense. For once, I wanted to be reckless, to be the heroine of a childhood sweetheart's love story. But Gu Linchuan's words just now were a slap in the face, jolting me back to reality. Gu Linchuan could be reckless and impulsive, he didn't have to take responsibility for his life. As long as he didn't break the law, the Gu family would always be his safety net. And me? I had nothing. When I had cried my fill, I hurried to my computer. Just before the deadline, I changed my application back to Nanda University. Everything was back on track. I was doing right by my 18 years of hard work, and I was doing right by my mother and her 20 years of thankless labor for the Gu family. Ever since kindergarten, Gu Linchuan and I have been in the same class. The Gu family paid for my tuition and living expenses. Their only requirement was that I look after Gu Linchuan at school. Once we started college, the Gu family no longer had a reason to support me, so I found a part-time job early on. As I was instructing a guest at the riding stable, a young couple walked in behind me. The girl was clutching the man's hand, her voice tight with nerves. This is my first time learning to ride. Do they ever go wild? I'm a little scared. The man's voice was gentle as he soothed her. Don't be afraid. They're all very tame. I'll ride with you first. The girl gave his chest a bashful tap. Stop it, everyone's watching. Besides, she added, there are instructors here. He brought her fingertips to his lips for a kiss, his demeanor arrogant and wild. This is my family's stable. If you don't want them watching, I'll just have them all thrown out. My nails dug sharply into my palms. I froze, unable to move. I already knew his confession was just a cruel joke. But seeing him flirt so shamelessly with another girl, I couldn't stop the ache in my heart. Noticing how pale I'd become, a coworker told me to go take a break. But Gu Linchuan spotted me first. Shock filled his eyes, quickly followed by a wave of torrential anger that crashed over me. Lin Shuiyue, what are you doing here? Did you get up at the crack of dawn, just to follow me? I froze, stunned that he would assume the worst of me with such malice. I've been working part-time here for 2 weeks. I don't have time to follow you. Gu Linchuan's expression darkened. He scanned me from head to toe before demanding, a part-time job? Are you that desperate for money? Isn't the allowance the Gu family gives you enough? The girl glanced at me, then naturally extended a hand in greeting. You must be Shuiwei. I've heard Lin Chuan mention you so many times. He says you're an outstanding person. I turned to meet her gaze, which wasn't nearly as friendly as her words. Su Mian, the campus beauty from the class next to ours. Her name, Mian, means soft cotton, and she lived up to it. She had a gentle personality and a sweet face. Even her anger was soft-spoken, a quality that easily made others feel protective of her. Right now, however, her gaze was probing, sizing me up, trying to discern the true nature of my relationship with Gu Linchuan from my reaction. Hearing her call me by my first name so familiarly made a wave of discomfort wash over me. I had started school a year late just to stay in the same grade as Gu Linchuan. Technically, that made me a year older than her. Perhaps my expression was too grim, because Su Mian took a fearful step back and hid behind Gu Linchuan. Gu Linchuan wrapped an arm around her waist, his face etched with displeasure that I had startled the girl he adored. Seeing them act as if I were some great threat, I let out a short, self-mocking laugh and introduced myself again. I'm not your Shuiwei. I'm Lin Shuiwei, the daughter of the Gu family's housekeeper. Su Mian finally smiled. Gu Linchuan, however, looked uncharacteristically grim. Su Mian refused Gu Linchuan's offer and insisted that I be the one to teach her how to ride. But after trying for what felt like half the day, she still couldn't even get on the horse. In the end, Gu Linchuan had to lift her up onto the saddle before she could finally manage to sit steady. I led the horse by the reins for her and heard her let out a soft laugh as she asked Gu Linchuan, Shuiwei must be an amazing rider, right? I'm so hopeless, I can't even get on the horse by myself. Oh, and Shuiwei, do you know how to play golf? Linchuan personally taught me yesterday. I thought it was so much fun. I glanced up at Gu Linchuan and answered frankly, I don't. Gu Linchuan touched his nose, looking away awkwardly. A long time ago, I'd gone with Gu Linchuan to the golf course to be his caddy. When I said I wanted to try, he'd told me, you're so clumsy. Just stick to fetching the balls. It would be exhausting trying to teach you. I was only good enough to fetch his balls, while the woman he adored was worthy of his personal attention. At the end of the day, I was nothing more than a servant to him. But the Gu family had already been good to me, sending me to the best schools and hiring someone to teach me how to ride. Even if it was all just an afterthought for them, I had learned real skills and gotten into a good university. Without the Gu family, I wouldn't have even found this high-paying part-time job. I had no right to complain. At that thought, I swallowed the bitterness in my heart and put in a good word for Gu Linchuan in front of Su Mian. He's rarely this patient with anyone. He must really like you. I wish you both the best. Gu Linchuan's hand tightened on the reins, but he didn't say a word. That night, after I got back to the Gu house, I was about to lock my door and take a shower when Gu Linchuan, his face grim, forced the door open and pushed his way inside. I let out a scream, terrified, and tried to bolt past him. Gu Linchuan seized my wrists, pinning them above my head. He kissed me brutally, forcing my screams back down my throat. He pinned me against the door with his long legs, and no matter how I struggled, I couldn't break free. He was panting heavily, his mouth grinding against mine, sucking until the base of my tongue ached. My head cleared for a moment, and I bit down hard on his lip. He hissed in pain, burying his face against my chest as he gasped for breath. In a low voice, he asked me, Shuiwei, were you jealous today? I don't know if it was from the day's anger or the shock of his assault, but my throat closed up. I was trembling so hard I couldn't get a single word out. He reached up to gently caress my face and let out a soft laugh. Stubborn girl. Just like you've always been. I turned my head away, warning him fiercely, Gu Linchuan, you'd better let go of me before I go and tell Mrs. Gu. Going to tell on me? He ran his tongue along the nape of my neck. A jolt shot through my body, making me tingle all over, and I shivered involuntarily. Have you forgotten? We've done far worse in this very room. In that moment, it felt like I had been plunged into an icy abyss. Yesterday wasn't actually the first time Gu Linchuan had confessed to me. At our graduation party after the college entrance exams, he got drunk and rambled on, telling me all about the feelings he'd kept bottled up for years. During that time, my mom had gone with Mrs. Gu to visit relatives in their hometown, so it was just the two of us at the house. We were both drunk. He forgot all his inhibitions, and I forgot about the uncrossable chasm between us. That night, we did everything but go all the way. The next day, Gu Linchuan woke up on the living room couch with no memory of it at all. Since he didn't remember, I just pretended it was all a dream. I never thought he actually remembered everything. And had been smugly enjoying the sight of the mess I was when I woke up the next day. I was shaking with rage. I pounded on the door with the back of my hand, trying to make enough noise for my mom to hear. Gu Linchuan smiled and kissed the back of my hand, his voice flippant. Auntie Lin went with my mom to the temple. You could break your hand knocking today and no one would hear you. Don't be angry. Su Mian told me she'd never ridden a horse in her life, so I took her. How was I supposed to know you were so short on cash you'd be working there part-time? She's never had a boyfriend in her life either. Go be her boyfriend. You don't need to explain anything to me. Gu Linchuan frowned. Lin Shuiyue, do you have to be so spiteful? Not everyone is as lucky as you, living in the Gu household since childhood without a care in the world, getting to play golf and learn horseback riding with me. Gu Linchuan, the Gu family has been good to me, but I don't owe you a thing. I lifted the hem of my shirt, showing him the scars that riddled my body. When I was 8, we were kidnapped. I was stabbed in the lower back protecting you. I almost died. When I was 12, you picked a fight to prove how tough you were. I almost lost the use of my right hand protecting you. At 14, you messed with the girlfriend of the biggest bully at the vocational school next door and his crew came for revenge. My left leg was shattered protecting you. I still have the steel pins in it. Every gift fate has given me came with a clearly marked price. Gu Linchuan froze for a second, then lowered his head to try and kiss me again. In the moment he was stunned, I wrenched my hand free and pulled a small knife from my bag. Gu Linchuan, let go, or we die together. I'd always made it a habit to carry a small knife for self-defense. I just never thought the first person to make me draw it would be Gu Linchuan. Gu Linchuan's eyes turned cold. He scoffed, his voice glacial as he shot back, Lin Shuiyue, when did you become so petty? You never said a word when I dated other people. So I took Su Mian horseback riding and golfing, what's the big deal? She got into a university down south on early admission, she's leaving soon. Do you really think she's interested in competing with you for my attention? I felt like I'd been plunged into an ice cave. All the strength drained from my body. Gu Linchuan keenly sensed my shift in mood. He leaned back against my headboard, perfectly at ease. He asked incredulously, Lin Shuiyue, you haven't actually fallen in love with me, have you? He burst out laughing. We grew up together. I've only ever seen you as a sister. Besides, if I really had feelings for you, Su Mian wouldn't even be in the picture. On top of that, I'm not into older women. I stood there, stunned, my voice strained. If you don't like me, why did you confess your feelings? Why did you do that to me that night? It's not like you said yes, did you? We're all adults. Isn't it normal to help each other with a little loneliness? Who knew there were still prudes like you in the 21st century? Besides, it's not like I actually put it in. Your virginity is still intact, so relax. He still had that cavalier smile on his face, and it was only then that I realized. A heart already riddled with 1,000 holes could still feel pain. It turned out that once you stripped away the filter of more than a decade of feelings, Gu Lingji was nothing special after all. When he was done laughing, he wiped the tears from his eyes and sighed. If I'd known you were so conservative, I wouldn't have drunk so much that night. Watching you blush and tremble while I was sober would have been a lot more interesting. Shaking with anger, I dropped the knife and, without warning, landed a resounding slap across his face. Gu Lingji had been put on a pedestal his whole life, he'd never been humiliated like this. Are you crazy? I watched the clear, red print of my hand bloom on his cheek and said calmly, Gu Lingji, we're even. He stared at my face for a few seconds. After a long moment, he reached out and touched the soft flesh of my cheek. I know you have a temper and can't accept this right away. Feel better now? If not, you can hit me a couple more times. Don't say things you don't mean just because you're angry. We're still supposed to go to college together. Without me there to have your back, who's going to stand up for you if you get bullied at school? He didn't know yet that I had already changed my college application last night. I wouldn't be going to the same university as him, and I certainly didn't need his special protection. He gripped my shoulders, forcing me to meet his gaze. Don't worry, I won't let Soo-mi get in your face and piss you off anymore. He was a man of his word. The next day, I went to my job at the stables as usual. The manager informed me I was fired. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of Gu Linji lifting Soo-mi onto a horse. When I snapped out of it, my nails had already dug into my palm, breaking the skin. Xiaoyu, it's not that you did a bad job. He gestured upward, hinting, someone up top doesn't want you here anymore, and my hands are tied. I'll still give you your full attendance bonus for this month. I just said okay. It only dawned on me later. When he said yesterday that he wouldn't let Soo-mi get in my way, he meant he was kicking me out of the stables. That way, I wouldn't have to see him teaching her how to ride. When I got back to the Goos, my mom was startled to see me. Why are you home so early today? Fighting back tears, I quietly pulled my mom into my room. Mom, if I go to college out of town, would you come with me? Of course, she said without hesitation. I've been a housekeeper for the Gu family for 20 years, and because of me, you've had to live under someone else's roof since you were just a kid. I've saved a good bit of money over the years. Wherever you end up working, that's where I'll buy a house. You're my only daughter. Wherever you are, that's our home. When Mrs. Gu gets back, I'll give her my notice. That'll give her time to find a replacement. After the college entrance exam scores came out, I lied to my mom and told her I'd only scored in the 500s so I could apply to the same university as Gu Linji. She didn't ask why I'd underperformed. She just gave me a gentle hug, same as today. No matter what happened, my mom would always be there to support and encourage me. I felt a little more at ease, and I planned to surprise her on the day my acceptance letter arrived. In just one more month, we would be able to leave the Goos for good. After losing my job at the stables, I had no intention of just lazing around the Gu house. I'd scored a 660 on my college entrance exams, after all. It didn't take me long to find a summer tutoring job. My student was a middle school girl with a round face and round eyes named Shinji. She always liked to prop her chin on her hands and ask me questions that had nothing to do with school. Right now, for instance, she was hugging my arm, her head resting on my shoulder as she looked up at me with pleading eyes. Teacher, what's your favorite food? I can have our housekeeper make it for you. I deliberately slid a competition-level problem for high school seniors in front of her. Solve this, and I'll tell you. In a flash, she scribbled down the answer and pushed the notebook back to me. I was only just realizing it now, but Shinji was brilliant, so brilliant that having me as a tutor seemed completely unnecessary. For the rest of the afternoon, I brought up several problems I'd never been able to solve myself, and we tackled them together. By the time I snapped out of it, the sky outside was pitch black. Shinji spoke up, annoyed with herself. It's all my fault, I got too carried away. It's so dark now, it must be a pain for you to get home alone, teacher. I was just about to say I would be fine. She cut me off, sighing with feigned regret. Oh well, I guess my uncle will just have to drive you home himself. I'd seen Shinji's uncle, Meng Liangzhou, a few times. He looked to be in his early 20s, and when he smiled, he had two cute dimples. He looked a little familiar, but I guess all good-looking people have similar features. I didn't want to trouble them, but Shinji insisted, saying she wouldn't feel at ease if I went home alone. When I got in the car to grab a mask, I found a student ID for Nan University in the glove compartment. I was pleasantly surprised and asked instinctively, "You're a student at Nan University?" He nodded, replying succinctly, "I'll be a senior when the semester starts." I scratched the back of my head bashfully. I applied to Nan University too, for clinical medicine. I got my provisional acceptance a while ago. Changing the subject, I asked him, a little puzzled, "If you're a student there yourself, why do you need to find a tutor for Shinji?" He rubbed his nose awkwardly. "I can't handle her." The awkwardness between us suddenly dissipated as we bonded over the topic, and he offered to add me on WeChat. "You don't know your way around the Nanu campus. When school starts, I can give you a ride. That would certainly make things a lot easier." Seeing the friend request with a Chupa Chups lollipop for a profile picture, I accepted it without a second thought. When the car, following the GPS, stopped outside the Gu family's villa, Meng Liangzhou seemed surprised. "You live here?" My mom is a housekeeper for the Gu family. I live with her. He nodded and brushed a leaf from my hair. I see. It's hot out, you should go inside. After his car was a good distance away, I slowly made my way around to the side door of the Gu house. This door was closest to my bedroom, so I wouldn't disturb anyone by going in this way. Lin Shuiwei, who was that who just dropped you off? Gu Lingji was standing in the corner. The shimmering moonlight cast over him made the half of his face hidden in shadow look particularly terrifying. He scared the daylights out of me, and I instinctively took a few steps back. He grew even more furious, grabbing my wrist with a clenched jaw. You're dating him, aren't you? What's it to you? What's it to me? That guy might look well-dressed, but isn't he just after you because you live in the Gu family's villa? You've lived in the Gu house for over 10 years, and now you actually think you're Miss Gu? In your dreams. I wasn't dating Meng Liangzhou, I had never considered myself part of the Gu family, and I certainly wasn't going to freeload off them forever. But I didn't want to explain any of this to Gu Lingji. If you want to date him, I don't care. But on one condition, you get the hell out of the Gu house and out of my sight. His calculating smile stung my eyes, he seemed so certain I wouldn't dare to leave. I smiled and gave him a crisp, fine. I agreed so readily that it was his turn to be stunned. He asked in disbelief, what did you just say? I said, I'll get the hell out and stay out of your sight. Now, can you let me go in and pack my things? I was only 6 when I first came to the Gus, because my dad died in a car accident. My mom, to make it easier to take care of me, had to tell Mrs. Gu she was quitting. To convince my mom to stay, Mrs. Gu agreed to let me move into their home. From then on, I became Gu Lingji's shadow, and the kids in my class all made fun of me. I didn't want to worry my mom, so I would just hide in a corner and cry by myself. Gu Lingji saw me and handed me a tissue. The next day, he beat up everyone who had called me a shadow. It was the first time his parents were called to school because he'd gotten in a fight, and after that, no one ever dared to say that word to me again. In middle school, a lot of girls would stuff love letters into my desk, asking me to pass them on to Gu Lingji. As much as I hated it, I still gave them to him. He never gave those letters a single glance, but in a rare show of anger, he got mad at me. Lin Shuiwei, it's one thing for other people to give me love letters, but you blockhead, you're actually helping them? Don't you know? Forget it. You idiot, you wouldn't get it even if I told you. He didn't explain anything clearly, but I, slow on the uptake, felt a secret thrill. When you're young and naive, you always fantasize about things that aren't yours. Back then, I thought Gu Lingji probably liked me a little, too. It was the unstoppable fluttering of a young girl's first crush. Only now do I understand that what he said back then was simply because he didn't want the trouble of me delivering love letters for him. It was such a simple misunderstanding, yet it led me to have fantasies I never should have had. Gu Lingji was furious and just about to blow up when he was interrupted by the sharp ringing of his phone. He answered and deliberately put it on speaker so I could hear everything clearly. Gu Lingji, I want to go check out that new dessert shop tomorrow. Let's take Shuiwei with us. She's probably never had anything like it, the poor thing. Gu Lingji glanced at me with a half-smile and flatly refused. If she comes, how are we supposed to have our time alone? We're not taking her. Let her be mad about it. After hanging up, he said to me condescendingly, if you beg me, I might consider taking you along tomorrow. No, thanks. I need to go pack. I have work tomorrow. That night, after I finished packing, I talked to my mom about moving out. She refused. Where are you going to find a short-term rental? Besides, I'd worry about you living out there all by yourself. I've already told Mrs. Gu I'm quitting. Once you get your acceptance letter in a few days, wouldn't it be easier for us to just move near your school? I figured the acceptance letter would arrive in 3 days anyway, so I didn't press the issue of moving out. The next day, I went to give Shinji her lesson as usual. During a break, she offered me a lollipop. You must be hungry after talking so long, have some candy to boost your energy. It was sweet and sour, and the taste felt quite familiar. Seeing that I didn't spit it out like before, she became more assertive, opening my bag and stuffing handfuls of Chupa Chups lollipops inside. I was a bit surprised. Didn't this type of Chupa Chups lollipop get discontinued a long time ago? Won't these be expired? My uncle likes them, so he bought the factory a couple of years ago. We have as many as we want at home. I'm tired of them. Teacher, if you like them, take more back with you. I looked at my bulging bag, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. After class at noon, she said she wanted to take me to a newly opened dessert shop nearby to try something new. My uncle is a shareholder in the dessert shop, so we can eat there for free without a reservation. Without giving me a chance to refuse, she pulled me into Meng Liangzhou's car. You can start driving, uncle. Huh? Not listening to me? I'm going to tell Mom you're bullying me and not feeding me. Shinji pulled out the family authority card, and Meng Liangzhou could only sigh helplessly and dutifully act as the driver. It was then that I understood what Meng Liangzhou meant last night when he said he couldn't control Shinji. It turned out that Meng Liangzhou had offended Shinji by hesitating for a few seconds before leaving that day. At the dessert shop, she passionately complained to me about his embarrassing moments right in front of Meng Liangzhou. When he went back to his alma mater for a lecture in his freshman year, I asked him to bring me a gift on the way back. Guess what he brought me? A lollipop wrapper. He had already eaten the candy. Even now, that thing is framed and placed by his bedside, worshipped as a lucky charm. Meng Liangzhou was mortified, constantly giving her eye signals. Shinji seemed to miss the cue and continued to complain. And don't even get me started on your peculiar WeChat profile picture. I was laughing so hard that when my peripheral vision caught a glimpse of Gu Lingji, I didn't immediately react. Meng Liangzhou followed my gaze and exchanged a look with Gu Lingji. Are you in trouble? I nodded, then shook my head. Not really, but he has a girlfriend and keeps bothering me. It's quite annoying. He nodded, giving me a reassuring look. I understand. Gu Lingji's face fell, and he walked over and tapped on my table. Didn't you say you had work? Is this your work? Xiaoyu is an adult, whom she meets or what she does doesn't seem to require your report. Gu Lingji sneered. Lin Shuiwei and I grew up together. She always informs me of anything important in advance. Who are you to meddle in our affairs? Meng Liangzhou's expression turned cold. Everyone who consumes here is a customer. I won't do anything to you, but Xiaoyu is my friend, and I won't allow anyone to force her to do something she doesn't like. Su Mian carefully reached out and tugged at Gu Lingji's sleeve. Brother Lingji, my ice cream is melting. Gu Lingji snapped back to attention, looked at the melting ice cream in Su Mian's hand, and chuckled softly. He gave me a provocative look, took her hand, and licked it. I'll help you wipe it clean. After they walked away, Shinji coldly grumbled. That was truly uncomfortable. Uncle, I won't ever complain about you again, you're much better than him. After that, Gu Lingji took Su Mian on a trip, saying he'd drop her off in Nan City along the way. It seemed intentional, meant for me to see. The same Gu Lingji who'd always been too cool for social media was now posting daily updates, flaunting his life with Su Mian. I thought it was pathetic and promptly changed his settings so I couldn't see his posts. On the day my college acceptance letter was supposed to arrive, I told Meng Liangzhou I was quitting. Shinji doesn't really need a tutor. She's incredibly smart, and I haven't taught her much of anything in the last couple of weeks. My acceptance letter is arriving today, and I'll be moving to Nan City with my mom soon. Shinji walked in, cheerfully carrying a fruit platter, but her expression soured the moment she heard me. Ms. Lin, you're leaving, she wailed, grabbing my arm. You can't. If you go, who will I complain about my uncle with? I'm going to college in Nan City. You can visit me sometime. Nan City? She breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, that's no problem. I can just transfer and go to school with you. She flopped onto the sofa and bossily ordered Meng Liangzhou, Uncle, arrange for me to transfer schools. Now. Me, what? On the way back to the Gu house, I called my mom to ask if she'd received my acceptance letter. Young Master Gu said you both applied to the same university, so he went ahead and signed for your letter, she said. Yeah, didn't you say you were going to Nan City? Why would you apply to a university up north with him? I knew immediately she hadn't actually seen the letter. I got into Nan University, I told her. I didn't say anything because I wanted to surprise you. Really? I knew my girl was brilliant. Hurry home and get that letter from young Master Gu. I asked him for it, but he insisted on giving it to you in person. When I got to my room, Gu Lingji was there, just as I expected, sitting on the edge of my bed with a dark expression. He held out the acceptance letter. Didn't we agree we'd go to the same university? Lin Shuiwei, you lied to me. I scored a 660 on the entrance exams. Did you really expect me to throw away a score that high just to attend some average university with you? I won't make the same mistake twice. Back in middle school, Gu Lingji didn't get into the city's top-ranked high school, so he went to number 1 high instead. And I gave up my acceptance to that same top school just to follow him there. My mom even urged me back then to forget about the Gu family's sponsorship and just go to the better school, but I was stubborn and refused to listen. It wasn't about the money. I just, purely and simply, wanted to be closer to Gu Lingji. This time I wouldn't be so stupid. But we promised we'd be together when we went to college. I stared right at him. And don't you know exactly why I agreed to that? A flicker of panic crossed his eyes. I stepped back, avoiding his outstretched hand. Gu Lingji, I heard everything. Everything you said to your friends in your room that night. So thank you. You gave me the chance to pull back from the brink. Now I'd like to rest. Please get out. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Yeah, are you back? Maybe it was out of shame, but Gu Lingji didn't say another word. He just silently got up, opened the door, and left. Yeah, what's wrong with young Master Gu? He looked a little downcast. Probably didn't do well on his exams, so he's in a bad mood. We're leaving soon anyway, so let's not go bother him and risk setting him off. My mom nodded, carefully stroking my acceptance letter, her voice choked with emotion. If your dad were still here, he'd be so happy to see how successful you become. My mom has always been a simple person. After so many years at the Gu family's house, she didn't really have many belongings. The day after I got my acceptance letter, we packed our bags and went back to our hometown. We hadn't been back in over 10 years, and so much about our hometown had changed. The winding, yellow dirt road from my memories was now a straight asphalt road that led right to our doorstep. My mom and I stayed in our hometown for a week before heading to Nanjing to look for an apartment. During that time, Meng Liangzhou and Xinji both messaged me a few times. The first thing I did when we landed in Nanjing was call them. It's always better to have someone you know than to run around a new city like a chicken with its head cut off. Xinji poked her head out of the car with a grin. Sister Shuiwei, we meet again. Meng Liangzhou, with a straight face, corrected her. You've got the generation wrong. Call her teacher. I smoothed things over. I'm not her tutor anymore, so teacher doesn't really fit. Sister is just fine. Xinji made a face at him. Mom, this is Xinji, the student I was tutoring a while back, and this is her uncle, Meng Liangzhou. He also goes to Nanda. He's a senior this year. My mom's face broke into a wide smile. Ah, little Meng, it's so good of you to help us out when we've just arrived. No trouble at all. Sister Shuiwei, hurry and get in the car with your auntie. I'm definitely treating you guys to dinner this time. In the end, it was Meng Liangzhou who paid the bill. After dinner, back at the hotel, my mom suddenly started wiggling her eyebrows at me. So, that little Meng, is he pursuing you? Don't be ridiculous. Xinji and I are just good friends, so he's just looking out for me too. Did you see how anxious he got when that little girl called you sister? Your mother is a very good judge of character. You're both at Nanda, so there might really be a chance. Little Meng is thoughtful, and he likes you. I think he's a great catch. But, I still have to remind you. It's okay to date, but you have to be careful and protect yourself. She had me blushing, my heart racing. Mom, stop trying to stir things up. On move-in day, Meng Liangzhou went with me to campus. He helped carry my luggage upstairs. It was hot outside, so I trailed behind him, dutifully fanning him. My other 3 roommates had already arrived. He dropped me off at the door to my dorm room and didn't stay long. As soon as he left, my 3 roommates swarmed me, chattering away and asking how I knew Meng Liangzhou. That's when I found out that Meng Liangzhou was the student council president at Nanda, a campus celebrity who'd gone viral for his good looks. You mean you didn't look up anything about Nanda beforehand? Then again, if I had a Meng Liangzhou to bring me to school, I'd let him handle everything, too. With Meng Liangzhou's care, my first month at school went quite smoothly. Shuiwei, it seems someone is looking for you downstairs. Meng Liangzhou asked me to have lunch with him, I'll be right down. It's not Meng Liangzhou. My roommate crept closer, looking mysterious. It's a guy I've never seen before. He grabbed me and asked if I knew Lin Shuiwei. So what did you say? Of course, I said no, who knows what he's here for. I got up and went to the balcony to look down, and sure enough, I saw Gu Lingji standing below the dorm building. As if by telepathy, he looked up in my direction. I didn't have time to hide, so we just gazed at each other from a distance. Soon after, I received a message from Gu Lingji on my phone. Come down. I'll give you 3 minutes, if you don't come down, I'm coming up. It had only been a month since school started, and I didn't want to become infamous for such an unsightly matter. Gu Lingji looked haggard, with dark circles under his eyes, like an old monster who hadn't slept for 2 days. Gu Lingji, did you come to the wrong campus? This is Nanda University. Su Mian is at the vocational college across the river in Nanjiang. I came specifically to find you. How have you been recently? Pretty good. But I haven't been good. I was so angry when I found out you didn't apply to the same school as me, and I wanted to give you a lesson by ignoring you for a few days, but then you guys just moved out. I did have a fresh feeling for Su Mian, but I only liked the satisfaction of her completely depending on me, and I developed a strange protective instinct for her. I don't actually like her. I've thought a lot by myself this past month and realized the person I've always liked is you. We grew up together, can you give me another chance? He took a step forward, trying to reach for my hand. I stepped back in disgust, letting out a cold laugh. But I don't like you at all, so why should I give you another chance to bother me? But that night, if you didn't like me, why didn't you refuse? Why did you let me? I smiled, returning his exact words to him. We're all adults, isn't it normal to relieve loneliness with each other? Who knew you were such a conservative old-fashioned person? If I had known, I should have slapped you awake that night and let you see how pathetic you were. After saying that, I turned and walked towards Meng Liangzhou, who was standing not far away. In the car, he probed me. I saw you two talking for quite a while. What did he say to you? I casually took a candy from his car, unwrapped it, and put it in my mouth. He traveled over 1,000 kilometers to confess to me, saying he wants to start over and begged me for another chance. Did you agree? Yeah. The car suddenly screeched to a halt, tires making a harsh sound. How could you agree to him? You compare prices for even buying tissues, but when it comes to choosing a boyfriend, you accept everyone. I said indifferently, so what? He got exasperated, grabbing my wrist and pulling me into his arms. I just wanted to tell you, I like you too. If you can give him a chance, why can't you give me one? I let out a few muffled laughs, his chest so hard it made my teeth hurt. I was just messing with you. It's your own fault for always beating around the bush. Let me tell you, there's a line of people who like me stretching around the block. If you don't hurry up, you'll lose your chance for good. Yeah, I like you. So, Lin Shuiwei, will you give me a chance? We'll see how you do. Back in my dorm that night, I got a friend request from Su Mian. The moment I accepted, a flood of accusatory texts inundated my screen. Lin Shuiwei, you've got more tricks up your sleeve than I thought. Gu Lingji took an overnight flight to Nanda just to see you, didn't sleep a wink. You must be pretty proud of yourself right now, huh? I don't think being harassed by another girl's boyfriend is anything to be proud of. He's not my boyfriend. We just hung out for a few days. We never held hands, let alone kissed. I deliberately acted all close with him in front of you just to see you suffer. But I should have known. You're just as hateful as ever. Su Mian and I had never really crossed paths, so I couldn't for the life of me figure out why she held such intense malice toward me. You've probably forgotten, but freshman year of high school, you rejected a guy's confession, and he ended up transferring schools because of it. I went through hell and back just to get into the same class as him, and you ruined everything with just a few words. I got close to Gu Lingji on purpose, just so you could get a taste of that same agonizing pain. I had a vague memory of it. I'd rejected the guy, telling him I wanted to get into Beida University and that if we were meant to be, we'd meet again. Who knew he'd be so embarrassed that he'd transfer out in a fit of pique? If Su Mian had managed to beat me fair and square on the college entrance exams, stealing my top spot to get her revenge, I might have actually respected her for it. But using a guy to try and get back at me? That's just pathetic. I'm sorry this has been bothering you for so many years, but I hope you'll really think about it. Do you even still like him? After sending that, I deleted her. 3 years had passed. She'd probably long forgotten what he even looked like, but she was still hung up on what happened. You always want what you can't have, and I didn't want to spend my life shackled to some youthful fantasy I could never obtain. I just wanted to cherish the person right in front of me, right now. A month after Meng Liangzhou confessed to me, we made it official. Shinji was clicking her tongue in amazement, and while Meng Liangzhou was off paying the bill, she told me the rest of the story about that old lollipop wrapper. My uncle saw you when he came back to our high school to give a talk during his freshman year of college. That framed wrapper? You were the one who gave it to him. It's been so long, I only vaguely remembered when Shinji brought it up. Back in freshman year of high school, the school made us attend an alumni lecture during evening study hall. That must have been the first time I met Meng Liangzhou, and it was what sparked my desire to get into Nanda University. After the lecture, I found Meng Liangzhou outside the restroom. He looked like he had low blood sugar, sitting on the floor, pale and motionless. As I walked by, he suddenly reached out and grabbed the corner of my shirt. Looking up at me, he asked, "Hey, do you have any candy in your pocket?" I searched all my pockets and finally found a lollipop in my school uniform. I never would have thought that after all this time, he'd not only kept the wrapper but had even saved the candy factory that made it from going out of business. Just then, Meng Liangzhou came back from paying the bill. "What are you two talking about? You look so happy." I grinned. "Just talking about how you fell for me at first sight and have been hopelessly devoted ever since, refusing to marry anyone else." "You're ridiculous." When Meng Liangzhou walked me to my dorm, I realized Gu Lingji was there again. For the past month, he'd flown across half the country to see me every weekend, rain or shine. He never said anything, just watched me from a distance for a moment before leaving. Today, he was standing there as usual, but this time, I took Meng Liangzhou's hand and walked right up to him. "Please stop coming here and bothering me. My boyfriend gets jealous." His eyes reddened, and his voice was hoarse. "Congratulations." After that, Gu Lingji never showed up at my dorm again. On graduation day, a classmate suddenly handed me a photograph. In the photo, I was beaming, holding a bouquet of sunflowers from Meng Liangzhou. "Someone just paid me $200 to give this to you," she said. I looked up and scanned the area, just in time to see a familiar figure quickly turn and walk away. Just then, Meng Liangzhou called me over for a picture, so I tossed the photo into a nearby trash can. I walked away so quickly that I didn't see someone pull the photograph back out of the trash after I left. A moment later, he received 2 new messages on his WeChat. "Dwelling on the past is a waste of the present. You have to be brave enough to turn the page to move on to the future you deserve. We all deserve a better future."